All right, guys, good morning. We are on Tuesday, so we're going to be in our little books again. The little book is going to be that book where we read Starry Night yesterday. And let's see, we're also going to be doing your turn practice workbook. And then at the end, you guys are going to do your 5 things on your own. Okay. Now, last week, some of you guys weren't sure how to click on these. You just click on the blue. And then once you click on the blue, then another link will show up and you just click on that blue link again, and then it's going to take you there. Okay. You guys all need to know how to get to your weekly schedule and do this, because if you guys aren't sure how to do it still, that means you're not doing your practice spelling and practice vocabulary every day. So you need to make sure you're doing that, okay? All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to ConnectEd because I don't have my book. So if you don't have your little book, this is an option for you. If you do have your little book, I think it's great for you guys to use it. I'm gonna click on read.
Read.
I'm going to click on the book from yesterday, Starry Night. And then I'm going to go to reread, which is our comprehension strategy, and then sequences, which is going to be our comprehension skill.
Reread. As you read, you can stop and reread the parts you do not understand or may have missed. This will help you understand what you read. Find text evidence. On page 201 of Starry Night, I am not sure what the Big Dipper is. I will reread this part of the story to see if I missed anything. Long. Josie looked up and spotted a crescent moon. "Did you know the moon's light comes from the sun?" said Josie. "It's funny that it's called moonlight." "Yes," said Ling, who was still thinking about playing in the tent. Josie's dad smiled at the girls and said, "See the stars in the sky? Those points of bright light can form shapes." "You can see the Big Dipper," he said. "It's a group of stars that look like a giant spoon in the sky." I read that the Big Dipper is a group of stars that look like a giant spoon in the sky. Sequence. The sequence tells the order of events in the story. We can use the words first, next, then, and last to tell the order of what happens. Find text evidence. As I read page 199 of Starry Night, I think about the sequence in the story. Graphic organizer. First, Josie and Ling plan a sleepover at Josie's house. Their teacher gives them homework over the weekend.
And then what happens next? So let's go ahead and do the sequence and let's just talk it up. Let's just talk it out. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out. So we're going to use the words first, next, then, and last. So first, their teacher assigns them homework over the weekend. Next, the girls go to Josie's house to sleep in a tent. Then dad tells them to do their homework. And then finally, they look into the night sky and realize how fun it is to look at the sun. At the moon and the stars. Okay. Our genre for this week is fiction.
Fiction. The story Starry Night is fiction. Fiction has made-up characters and events, has dialogue. Find text evidence. I can use what I read to tell that Starry Night is fiction. The characters are made up and they talk to each other. Story structure. Dialogue is when characters in a story talk to each other.
And so you can see here, why the unhappy sounds? Mr. Cortez asked. It'll be fun looking at the sky at night. So when there's dialogue where people are actually saying words and it's in quotation marks, you then know usually it is a fictional story.
Compound words. A compound word is made of 2 smaller words. Think of the meanings of the smaller words to figure out the meaning of the compound word. Find text evidence. I see the word sleepover. The first part of this word is sleep. which means to close your eyes and rest. The second part of this word is over, which can mean at another place. I think sleepover means sleeping at someone's house. They plan to sleep over at Josie's house.
Same thing. So compound words are going to be on your test. Compound words are two words that are combined to make a new word. Home, work. So work that you do at home. Backyard. It's a yard that you have behind your house. Okay, the last thing we're going to be looking at is this little second grader. Her name is Amelia. Okay, she actually wrote this. Okay, what she did was her teacher told her to write a descriptive piece where Ling and Josie present their homework. And so it's going to be a story. She's going to be writing a story. She's going to put the events in order in which that they happened. She's going to use linking words like she uses the word but to show how the character's point of view are different. And she's going to use descriptive details from the text to tell about the night sky.
On Monday, Ling and Josie stand in front of the class and take turns talking. Josie says, "We saw the moon first. It was a big crescent. My favorite part was finding the Big Dipper. The stars look like shiny lights in the shape of a big spoon." Ling says, "But that's not the best part. I saw a shooting star." Both girls say, "We think this was the best homework ever."
So let's see how many sentences Amelia wrote. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So she wrote 8 sentences in her one paragraph. She explains what they did in the introduction. So they're taking turns talking about their project in front of the class. She has a conclusion. They both thought that it was the best homework ever. And then they have details within where they explain what they did for their homework. All right, guys, that is it for our reading. What we are going to be doing next is we are going to be working on your turn practice workbook pages. Now, for your fluency reading, you will need to go to your fluency scores in Google Classroom. We're going to be using the same one as we did for trimester 1. So you're going to scroll down to ELA, look for the one that says Fluency Reading Score Tuesdays. Fluency Reading Score Tuesdays. Now, you're going to notice that it doesn't see your assignment right away, but if you scroll down, it'll be right here. You can also view the assignment, and then, well, yours is going to look different than mine. But when you guys view the assignment, you'll see your name pop up in the corner, and then you guys will click on that. Okay. So everyone go ahead and open up your fluency scores right now. And then you're also going to need to open up your turn. So your turn, you either have your book. If you don't have your book, you're going to go to your turn workbook pages in classwork and then open it up here. So there are 2 things you're opening up right now: your fluency reading scores and your CAMI, unless you're using your CAMI workbook. Unless you're using your CAMI workbook, I'm sorry, not your CAMI workbook, your turn workbook, which you should have at home. The page number that we are on right now is going to be pages 113 to 115.
Miss Park, can you help me get there?
Of course. Find the one that says Tuesday. So Fluency Reading Score Tuesday right there. And then scroll a little down. And then you can click View Assignment. Or you can use this gray bar here to scroll down. And then now that you're here, right there where it says your name, open that up. And there's your fluency scores. And then you have to scroll to the side because you need to get to the letter that says N. So you're gonna need to know either how to, on your trackpad, on your touchpad, with like, I think it's 2 fingers, you need to move move sideways. There you go. And then we're on unit 3, week 2. So this one right here. All right. All right, let's go ahead and get started. All right.
Miss Park,
Yes.
I tried I kept on closing the tab. It's not working.
All right. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to read the story in a minute. Okay. So I'm going to go first. Ready? Remember, every time I make a mistake, I'm going to underline the first time. So every time I make a mistake, I'm going to underline, or if I skip a word. So I'm going to go ahead and start my 1-minute timer. All right. Carla's family got to the park in the late afternoon. The sun was shining in the blue sky. There was not a cloud anywhere. Carla and her sister Rosa were I don't know that word. I'm going to skip it. It was their first camping trip. They ran around the campsite. They saw lots of big evergreen trees. A chipmunk ran on a branch overhead. Mama said, "Let's get things set up. Then we can go for a hike." Papa added, "We should have I don't know that word, so I'm going to skip it. I'm going to underline it. We should have blank time to hike before nightfall." After the tents were set up, the family hiked. I don't know that word. I don't know that word. As they returned to the campsite. Look, there are, okay, I got to R and then the timer went off. So let's see. I'm going to go to the beginning of that line, which is 99. And then I'm going to pretend like this is the next like space, like if we're playing a video game. Okay, 100, 101, 102. So I read my first read, I read 102 words.
I need help, Miss Park.
Yeah, I'll help you guys in just a second. Now, how many words did I skip? 1, 2, 3, 4. I skipped 4 words. Oops. So 102 minus 4 should equal 98. 99, 100, 101, 102. Yep. So what you guys are now going to do is you're going to do your first read. All right. All right. So I did forget to record myself. You guys already just did your 1 minute. So if you're watching this on YouTube, they've already done their 1 minute. So you're going to need to do that one on your own. All right. So just set up a timer for yourself for 1 minute and then do your reading. Going to give you guys a minute to get that done. Actually, yeah, why don't I do this? I'll give you guys exactly a minute to get it done. So if you're on YouTube, you can use this minute to do your recording. Okay, ready, guys? You guys have 1 minute to finish up the first one, and then we're going to do the second one. Ready, set, start. If you're in class, you have 1 minute to write down how many words you read.
Miss Park,
Mm-hmm.
I need help counting my words.
Okay, I'll help you in 23 seconds. Time. All right. Okay, so Danica, where did you stop at? What line did you stop at?
I stopped at line 91.
Okay, you stopped at line 91. Okay, what word did you stop at?
Campsite.
Campsite. Okay, so 91, you're going to count on 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. So you read 99 words. And then how many mistakes did you make?
0.
So you're going to write 99 minus 0 equals 99.
Okay.
Oh, yes? All right, guys, we're going to do our second read. I'm going to do your second read now, okay? So what am I going to do? Every time I make a mistake this time, I'm going to strike it through. Ready? I'm going to read. Carla's family got to the park in the late afternoon. The sun was shining in the blue sky. There was not a cloud anywhere. Carla and her sister Rosa were I still don't know the words. So I'm going to cross it out now. It was their first camping trip. They ran around the campsite. They saw lots of big evergreen trees. A chipmunk ran on a branch overhead. Mama said, let's get things set up. Then we can go for a hike. Papa added, we should have I still don't know the word, so I'm going to cross it out. Time to hike before nightfall. After the tents were set up, the family hiked. Daylight, okay, I said the word right, so I'm not going to cross it out, was fading. I said the word right, so I'm not going to cross it out. As they returned to the campsite, look, there are fireflies here, said Carla. Now I'm going to go to the next page because I still have 10 seconds. Everyone looked up to watch the fireflies. Just then, they saw a shooting star cross the dark night sky. What is that? Rosa asked. Okay, stop. So I got to Rosa asked. Okay, so what am I going to do? I'm going to look at the beginning of the line, which is 125, and then I'm going to count on 126, 127, 128, 129, 130. So my second read, I read 130 words. And then how many errors do I have? 1, 2. So I only made 2 errors this time. So 130 minus 2 equals 128. That is what you guys are going to do right now. All right? Are you guys ready for your second read? All right, are you guys ready? On your mark, get set, go. Thirty seconds. Five seconds. Time. Okay, go ahead and put a line where you stopped reading. Record it. I'll give you guys a minute to do that. All right. While you guys are finishing recording your numbers, we have to do one last thing before we move on. Once you have your numbers recorded, you need to put this in your fluency scores sheet. So you're going to go to that link or that tab. I know I have like a million tabs open right now. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put for your first read your score. So Miss Park's first read was 98. So I'm going to put 98. And then my second read was 128. So I'm going to write 128. Now, am I done? No. What do I have to do, guys? Click out of the box. Why do I have to click out of the box? Because that's how it saves your work. You're going to notice up here, it's going to say save to drive when you're done. So 98 and 128, I wrote it in letter N, which says unit 3, week 2, pages 113 to 115. Okay. All right. It looks like some of you guys have already put your scores in. If you put your scores in, you can put in the chat that you've done so by putting in done. And then what you're going to do is you can exit out. Once you click out of the box, you can exit out of this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to be talking about what happens first, what happens after it gets dark, and then what happens last in the story. So sequence words. Ready? So here we go. I'm going to read it all the way through. Carla's family got to the park in the late afternoon. The sun was shining in the blue sky. There was not a cloud anywhere. Carla and her sister, Rosa, were excited. Okay, I'll answer questions in just a second, okay? So keep yourselves muted for a sec. Carla's family got to the park in the late afternoon. The sun was shining in the blue sky. There was not a cloud anywhere. Carla and her sister, Rosa, were excited. It was their first camping trip. They ran around the campsite. They saw a lot of big evergreen trees. A chipmunk ran on a branch overhead. Mama said, "Let's get things set up. Then we can go for a hike." Papa added, "We should have enough time to hike before nightfall." After the tents were set up, the family hiked. Daylight was fading as they returned to the campsite. "Look, there are fireflies here," said Carla. Everyone looked up to watch the fireflies. Just then, they saw a shooting star cross the dark night sky. "What is that?" Rosa asked. "It's a shooting star. Some people say you can wish on a shooting star and your wish will come true," said Papa. Carlos and Rosa quickly made wishes. Mama explained, "Some people call it a shooting star. It's not a star, though. It's really just some dust flying toward the earth. It heats up and glows. That's what we see. No matter what we call it, I hope our wishes come true," said Carla. So what happens first in the story? Can anyone type it in the chat or tell me or unmute and tell me what happens first in the story? What happens first in this story, guys? They went to the park. Thank you, Ava. I'm going to write with our transition, our sequence words. So you guys can practice doing this in your own sentences. Okay, first, they went to the park. Now, if you want to write more, so like Ava gave us another detail, first they went to the park in the afternoon. You can even say they went to a campsite. So whatever you guys prefer to do. Okay, now what happens after it gets dark? So let's reread. That's a skill we can use. Let's reread. After the tents were set up, the family hiked. Daylight was fading as they returned to the campsite. "Look, there are fireflies here," said Carla. Everyone looked up to watch the fireflies. Just then, they saw a shooting star cross the dark night sky. So what happens after it gets dark? They see fireflies. Very good. So next, what I'm going to write is next, comma, they see fireflies. Normally, after we use a sequence word like first, next, then, last, finally, in conclusion, you guys are going to use commas after you write those sequence words. It gives a break in the story so we know what's happening. First, comma, they went to the park. Next, comma, they see fireflies. Now, what happens at the very end of the story? It's a shooting star. Some people say you can wish on a shooting star and your wish will come true, said Papa. Carla and Rosa quickly made wishes. Mama explained, some people call it a shooting star. It's not a star, though. It's really just some dust flying toward the earth. It heats up and glows. That's what we see. No matter what we call it, I hope our wishes come true, said Carla. So what happens at the end? What do? They hope all their wishes come true because what did they do though? Well, and so you can say that that they hope their wishes come true. I'm going to say like the last event that happened is that they wished on the shooting stars. So last, they wished on shooting stars. All right. And then guess what, guys? It is only 9:40, which means you have 15 minutes to work on your practice spelling and your practice vocabulary. Now, all of you should know how to get to our schedule. If you don't know how to get to our schedule, I'm going to put it in the chat. That is the link for your schedule. And then you all need to be taking your spelling practice test, which I'm going to also put in the chat. You all need to be taking your vocabulary practice test, which I will also put in the chat. And you also need to do your grammar and your mechanics games in Connect Ed. I also recommend doing words to know. And then you all need to make sure that your selfie writing is already completed. Okay, you have 15 minutes. So in these next 15 minutes, you need to be doing those 5 things. Okay, the answers for page 115 are also going to be put in the chat. First, number 1, they went to the park. Number 2, next, comma, they see fireflies. And then number 3, last, comma, they wished on shooting stars. All right, all the links and the answers are in the chat for you guys. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can pause the video and get to where you need. If you are all done writing these, I'm going to let you guys do your 5 things on your own. But however, if I check Go Guardian, you need to be working on your 5 things. I should see all of you guys taking your practice spelling and your practice vocabulary test. Okay. You guys have 15 minutes to get that done. At 9:55, you're going to transition to PE. And then at 10:15, we're all going to come back for math. So once you're done with questions 1, 2, and 3, you are free to head off. You are free to log off. And then you have to, but when you log off of Zoom, you're not done. You need to work on your practice spelling and your practice vocabulary test. And then if you have time, your grammar, mechanics, and your selfie writing. All right. If you guys have any questions, you guys can ask them now. If not, once you're done, you're free to leave.